everyone. My name is Ebenezer Safodu. I'm a business strategy consultant and a data specialist. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Currently, I've been doing a series on Power BI gurus where I've been interviewing the gurus around the world to take their minds about how we can get better and be like them. I mean, you learn better when you learn from experts. So today I have a special expert who is specializing in data storytelling in Power BI. And he's in the person of Alexandru Badiu. He's very excellent in most of the reports that I've seen him design. And we'll be going through some of them today. Alexandru, Alex for short. Welcome to my channel.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Wow. All right. So Alex, can you tell us about your background, how you got into data storytelling and BI design?
So my name is Alex, and I'm a BI manager in Edenred, which is a French company, a leading services and payment platform. So it is a company that is fully digital, and with a lot of BI projects. I started as a finance person, so I studied finance and management, and I started to work as an analyst and a financial controller, and I had to work a lot on Excel, and I had to do a lot of analysis to a lot of people, and I was looking to automate and to improve my work. And that's how I started to find out about Power BI. So when I started, it was not Power BI desktop. It is in Excel. So I started there, and then a couple of months later, I found out that there's a MOOC online about Power BI desktop, a new tool that was launched. So I did that MOOC, and I started to create reports, show them in the company. I was working in a oil and gas company, and they liked it. So they let me play and let me create reports. And at that time, there were so little resources online. So, and the tool was much more limited than today. But it was fun, I didn't know DAX. I just knew to do a sum and an average, but it was enough to create some reports. And it was very different than Excel. So everyone was very happy to see this tool. And in time, I started to deploy it inside the company. I also worked on the implementation of this tool to be embedded inside a home-based tool that was developed internally. So it was very advanced for 2016, 2017. And afterwards, I became a BI manager. I changed my company, so I went to a major oil and gas company. And there, after 5 years in the old company, I had to work with other tools. So I had to abandon Power BI and start working with Tableau, which was a great opportunity because I learned a lot of things from Tableau. At that time, Tableau was it had an advantage compared to Power BI. And I think it was a very important step in my involvement in my learning, because I learned how to learn. So I started to participate to events because the community of Tableau was huge at that time. It is still now. And I was participating to Makeover Monday, Tip Tuesday, Workout Wednesday, Sports Thursday, and then blogs on Saturday and Sunday. So it was great. And after 2 years of using this, I changed the company and I came back to Power BI. So it was 2 years ago. And the tool was not at all what I knew. At that point, Power BI was a new tool for me. So I had to relearn Power BI, but this time I knew how to learn. So I searched for resources. I started to really learn DAX and Power Query and data model and the storytelling and the design part. I already had a lot of things that I learned from Tableau, and I was just looking how to implement these rules and these techniques and that I learned about design and about storytelling inside Power BI. So
Wow.
that's my story.
What a journey.
Yeah.
From Power BI to Tableau and back to Power BI. I mean, your story rings a bell to a lot of people because one key thing about Power BI is when you leave it for a year or two, you might not recognize the tool anymore because of the vast improvement, especially the monthly update. So perhaps
Yes.
after 24 months, it looks so different, but the fundamentals are still the same.
The
You had something
fundamentals
to
are
say.
still the same. Yeah, the model was still the same. That was the big advantage of Power BI, and also the resources. So it's much easier to learn today than it was a couple of years ago. And yeah, and I think when I used Tableau, I also used Alteryx, which is also a great tool. And that tool really helped me to expand my mind in terms of analytics and the way the data can be crunched and blended. And then when I switched to Power Query, I started to understand how Power Query works and the potential of Power Query, because in the beginning I was just doing some filters or some easy transformations, and now I can go to another level.
Wow. Okay. So, Alex, you've been majoring in data storytelling for a while. Just for the people who might not have come in contact with what Alex has been doing, I'll probably show you some of his works so that you'll be able to appreciate the person that we're talking about here. I'm sure some of my people who follow me may have seen these reports and these dashboards, especially the Hamilton one that I'm showing currently. I'll put links to his reports in the comments sections on YouTube. So as you can see, and it's amazing and brilliant report. I mean, this was what he submitted for the Formula One Challenge by Enterprise DNA. He also did this. I saw this. I think I saw this and used this as an inspiration for a work I was doing for a client. I was just amazed about how well the report was designed and the sophisticated. I mean, the storytelling part is keenly what you specialize in. And this is the living through the pandemic, which had been featured in the data stories gallery. You click on hotspot, you get it, you click on, it's amazing. I mean, he's amazing. I'm happy to have him here. And at least if you've not seen it, you now know who we are talking about here. So my first question is, what goes through your mind? I mean, what before you actually design a report, and what are your takes? What do you do before you actually start a report?
So when I start a report, I'm trying not to imagine myself creating the report. So I'm trying not to take conclusions too fast and go in a way that it will be difficult to come back. What I'm trying to do, what I'm forcing myself to do, is to discover the data. So I'm just creating a lot of tables, and I'm trying to dig for insights, because one of the most important things that we have to do in reports is to create insights, not information. So we are trying to find the story, something interesting to tell, because as a story, the stories are the things that we remember, and the stories are the things that we like. We do not want to have all the information in just one page. We want to have something, an opinion, something that we didn't see or we didn't think about. And what I'm also trying to be careful about is to think about the audience, and the audience is the most important, because the way you will tell a story for a kid, it's not the same thing as telling the story to a grown-up or a manager or someone that is prepared in your field. So you have to adapt. This is the most important thing, I think, for all reports in the company and outside the company. You have to really know your audience. And starting from there, I'm I'm trying I'm trying ideas, and I'm starting to write on a paper some possible or some opportunities, some ways that I can create the story. And at that point, I'm not at all thinking about the design. So I'm not thinking about colors. I'm not thinking about how to present the data. I'm just trying to find what is the purpose of my report. And for the challenges that I participate, I know that there are two audiences. So the first audience are the people that are participating to these challenges, so they know the data. They want to know everything, every click you did, how you did it, where you did it, and they want to have all the details. And then you have the people that are interested in design or in Power BI, that they will spend just a couple of seconds on your report. They just want to see something and they want to understand right away what you wanted to do. And and uh, and I'm trying to think about these two audiences when I start creating reports for these challenges. I know that there are two audiences. The first audience are the people who create reports. They participate to these challenges, and they want to know everything you did in your report. You know, every click, every page, every button, if you did a line chart or line chart with some special effects or something else. They want to know everything. And they will spend some time to understand your report, to study your report. And then you have people that are interested in Power BI or in design or in analysis that will look, on LinkedIn or other platforms. They will just spend a couple of seconds on your report, and they want to understand what you did, what you did. So the visual aspect is important, of course, because it takes momentum. People will look at the report, they will be curious, and then they will engage with the report to see what you did. And so I'm thinking about these two audiences when I create my reports. And once I have my story and my ideas, I'm starting to sketch on paper. And people ask me, why do you want to sketch on paper? Why don't you do directly in, PowerPoint or something else? And the thing is that I read in a book that you get attached by your design. So if you start creating something and you spend some time, in PowerPoint or in whenever you say, I like this report, even though you know it's not a perfect idea, you will think, I can make it work. So
I
at the end
spent
you
too much
spend,
time.
yeah, you spend too much time then to try to correct things that you already know from the beginning that they're not really what you want. So I'm sketching on paper because I'm doing really fast, and then I can change my ideas 100 times. And once I sketch on the paper, a draft paper, what I want to do, then I'm going on the analysis on the tables. I always look at my data in tables in the beginning, and then I decide, okay, which data I will show, which interactions, and then I think about design. How will I integrate it? What mood it gives me, the data, because if you choose your colors from the beginning, maybe you will do something, color is very important in design. And if you do like very aggressive colors, you can send some message, some message that is not written, but it is perceived by the people. So based on the data, based on the story that I want to do, I'm using colors to augment the feelings that the people will have, because everything is subjective. Every people is subjective. When they see something, they will interact, they will feel it in a certain way. So that's when I'm searching for colors, and that's why most of my reports are, even though they are dark color, because this is something that I cannot do in my work, so I naturally do things that are different, but they are not the same color. They are not the same way. Every report is different. And yeah, maybe I can show my report, the
Yeah,
one,
that would be great.
because
That would be great.
I prepared one. So I'll show you directly inside Power BI desktop. Like that, it will be easier to showcase. So when I create this report, this is an image, a background image. It's not me who created this image. I took it from Unsplash. Unsplash is a website where you have free images to download.
Unsplash.com.
Yes. And it's good to take, you know, images or photos or creation from others, and to make sure that they agree or the photos are open to be downloaded, because it's not fair to take the work from someone else, as I don't want people to take this report and put their names and say it's theirs. It's good to give credit for the people who create this incredible images. So yeah, so when I created this image, you know, I had this image and I knew that I want to have a story around Hamilton. And why Hamilton? Because I like Hamilton. I like Hamilton. And there's also a rule in design that says, and that works pretty well also in reports, is that you have to bring a personal touch. It's good to have something that you believe in and show something that you believe in. And the data was, it was huge. You know, this data had all the races from 1950, and every lap and every score. You know, the seconds for every lap for 50 years. And it was just huge. And I didn't want to show everything. I just wanted to show one story, one particular stuff. And I was thinking about two things. You know, at the beginning, I was thinking I will take a race of Hamilton, the one that was the most dramatic, and I will show how he made his way up. You know, I will take the story of that particular race and show how he finishes. Then I was thinking about maybe I need to compare Hamilton to Schumacher, which was another legend. And then I started to really think about it, and it is very difficult to compare drivers that are not in the same generation, because it's not the same system for points, it's not the same driver, so it's quite difficult to compare them. But we already know they're the two legends in one of the best drivers in Formula One. So I wanted to do a benchmark. So that's what I ended up doing, comparing the performance of Hamilton from the grid position to the final result of the race. And I created this chart in particular, where I put all the positions, you know, in a special ranking 1, 2, 3. So I used colors. Colors are pre-attentive signals. So your eyes will be drawn to these numbers. So we'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you will see also where did it start. So like Bottas, Valtteri started 5th on the race but finished 2nd. Hamilton started 4th, finished 4th. And it's interesting to see how this evolves and what is the impact of how you start the race on the grid. And when I created this, I said, okay, it's nice, but you know, when I have Austrian Grand Prix and then I go to, I don't know, Bahrain. I think Bahrain is the first. Yeah, Lewis Hamilton won this race, but at the beginning I didn't have this color. You know, I didn't have a color on Lewis Hamilton, so it was difficult to see where did he finish. Did he finish here or here or here? And my story was about Hamilton, so I had to show Hamilton every time. Every time I'm going in a race, I see right away that he's 4th. So these are small tips, but I think that they are important. You know, if your story is about someone, you have to use pre-attentive signals to show that person. So pre-attentive signals, you know, is just make the eyes be drawn to a certain point, and it can be done with colors, with size, with shapes,
size,
yeah, and
with arrangement,
yeah,
location.
exactly. You know well all the secrets of of design. And at the end, you know, when I was thinking that maybe people are not very used to see this kind of reports, and I put, you know, in a text, dynamic text here, Lewis Hamilton finished 4 in the race, and based on the grid position and the evolution is 0 places. So he started 4, finished 4. So it's just to give more context, because in design and in reports, it's like DAX. It's all about context. So you have to make sure that it's clear what you do. And then you have this toggle. You have this toggle that will change the image. Yeah, because we had a requirement to create just one page, so we had to make it feel like it is one page. And when you click on this, you will have a different report, which is similar to what we have, but in this one you compare Hamilton to other driver. So here we have Fernando Alonso, or you can choose another driver, and you can see that Hamilton is red, finished 5th, and Fernando Alonso finished 6th on this race. But on the other ones, Lewis Hamilton finished in front of Fernando Alonso. So you can see it also with colors. So you can understand right away, okay, Fernando Alonso compared to Lewis Hamilton in terms of position of the races for 2021, he's in front. And then you have also this compared to grid. This is just text. You think that, okay, text in design, it's not important. Actually, it's very important. It's very important to give context. And I did also a test. I took my wife when this report was in the beginning. I say, okay, look at this. And can you use this report? And I'm not telling you anything, what it is. You just have to think, to say what you're thinking. And she saw this, but she didn't click on it. And I asked her, why did you click on it? But say, I didn't know you can click on it. So when you put your mouse over it, so it's dynamic. But if you do not put your mouse over it and you are not used with this kind of animation or this kind of toggle, you'll not click on it. So it's bad because you put a lot of effort to create this second view, and people will not click on it. So I'm saying, okay, I have to make it more visible. And that's why I added this small animation. That's why I also added the text. So that's the main type of analysis. And then there are the small things. When I create this report, I was really thinking about Formula One. And for me, Formula One are like an engine and then cylinders, and everything is not. It's rounded. It's not like sharp edges, etc. So I really liked this kind of report and design because it's nicely rounded. And if you look on the other types of reports that I have, you will see that everything is rounded. So everything I'm trying to have a harmony between all the views that I have in my report, so that it stays consistent. And also what I wanted to do is like I downloaded a font, free font that is digital, because for me, Formula One, when you look at the numbers, they are like a digital, like something like this. And I say, okay, I feel more into the world of Formula One if I'm using this kind of numbers. And that's why this is a special font. So I created a special, I imported a special font in this report. And yeah, so I used Charticulator because I'm not using Charticulator. How do you import fonts? I have a JSON file, and so I downloaded from Tips BI. There's a special font that you can download, and I download from the internet a font, and then I created in my theme. That's PowerTips. Sorry. So let me show you. Is that PowerTips.com? Yes, exactly. And they have a template, a JSON template of how you can import this theme. And let me see if I'm finding it. I don't know why I put it. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Yeah, maybe I can send you afterwards. I don't really know where I put this.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a small JSON file, and you just have to write the name of the font you want, and you have to have it downloaded on your computer first, and that's it. It's quite easy, and I think it gives you more on the theme of the report that you want to create. It's the first time I'm using it also in my reports, and yeah, these are the small the small details that are inside this report, because even though it looks simple, it doesn't have a lot of things. It's a lot of effort put in the small details. And then you have also, the year 2021, so that you know that you're in 2021. And then you have also this small button, and this small button, I'm using quite often this kind of dynamic menu, because as you see, I do not have a button to close. I just click around it and it closes. And this is a nice technique that I even made a video on it, where you are using inside the selection, you are using a white button that is under all this text, and every time it is clicked, it will close. So doesn't matter where you click, it will close. It's dynamic. It's quite nice. And then I was usually using this kind of dynamic menu, to show filters, to add filters, but I wanted to do something different this time, and I uploaded this image. This is an image that you can find from the internet, and then I put, like in the Formula Ones that you can see on the television, I put the number of the place of Hamilton in 2021, and what is the gap compared to the first person. So this data, it was Verstappen who was in front. Now the data is outdated. It's Hamilton who is first place. But if you go back and you choose, I don't know, another year. Let me open again. Yeah, I closed. If I choose 2020, I will see that Hamilton was first position in 2020, and it is no gap compared to the first one. And even this filter, as you can see, usually we have numbers that are ascending order. This is descending order, because people are more often interested in recent results.
The recent.
Than old data. So these are the kinds of things I did create here. Also some nice total wins, total championships. And
what chart did you use there in the total wins?
Sorry?
What chart did you use in the total wins?
Total wins, I used, I don't know the name. I used horizontal bar chart.
Okay.
It's a custom report that you can import from the gallery. And yeah, this is the for this kind of menu. Then so as I said, I'm not using Charticler that often, and I think that for this challenge it was a good occasion to learn and to test more this Charticulator. And I created all this design. I created also this tooltip, which I like, because on the top part of the tooltip you can see, you cannot see the numbers, so you cannot see the dates, but what you can see is the wins of Hamilton, and you can see that it starts to be more and more often. So not only Hamilton is a champion and has most wins, etc., even compared to Schumacher, but you can see that he wins more and more often. So it is not finished for him, and he is already a legend, and he will have more wins in the future. And then what was interesting also, it was an insight that, myself, I was thinking that, Hamilton was all the time to Mercedes and Schumacher was all the time for Ferrari. But you can see that it's not the case. Lewis Hamilton won for Mercedes, but also for McLaren. And then Schumacher won for Benetton and for Ferrari. So these are some nice, interesting information that I could show, and I'm staying consistent in the sense that I'm showing Lewis Hamilton in a color like the color I'm showing here in orange. And then for the polls, I created also a special image with dynamic formulas inside to show another insight, which I found that it is interesting, because I'm showing in the first analysis the position of the grid and the position of the race at the end. In this tooltip, I'm showing that Hamilton started on the first position at the beginning of the race 100 times, and 59 of those times he won the race. So that's interesting. And then on the second position, it was Schumacher who was in pole position 68 times and won 40 times. Yeah. So this kind of information, I think, okay, it will be a bit different, and it will show some information to the users. And at the end, I created another tooltip showing the wins of the champion wins of
so
Hamilton.
The entire tooltip is a calculator chart.
Not the entire, just the graph. I'll show you up.
Okay.
Just the graph here. Here, this is a normal chart. Maybe you are not used to use it like this, but this is a cluster column chart. So not that difficult to use. And yeah, and here is a normal chart. Let me take this away. And I have this. It's a normal chart, and I put some icons on top, and like this I made it feel like I made it look a bit different. Yeah. So yeah, this is the report I made, and my thoughts on this report. But then, as you say, there are different reports. This was about the documentation, which is very hard to imagine documentation in a visual way. So this was a lot of work on Tabular Editor, DAX Studio. It was pretty interesting to create, and with see how many elements you have on page. Highlight what is above or below a certain amount of seconds. Then the best practice analyzer, see on the performance point, you do not have to use floating points. You can identify which ones.
With all that you said, Alex,
yeah,
I get the fact that, like you said, before you start your analysis or your report, you begin to think about the user in mind to know what the user would want to achieve, what this report is about. But also, you also look at context to know that there's a story you want to tell. It's not every information you want to give. You want to give insight. So there is a twist to what an analyst wants to give out there. So it's not all the information. There is a story, that an insight that you've actually seen, and you want to tell the story along that. But what always gets my attention with your report is the theme. How are you able to blend the colors, the theme, and stay true to it throughout?
Yeah, I don't have any rule for the colors or for the theme. I spend quite a lot of time, on on different websites. I'm looking at images. When I take the metro, I'm looking at the images of how people present, and there are colors that I like. There are things that I see, and I don't know. I think that I have in my head a lot of ideas, and when I create the report, I feel like it should be like this. I'm using also this kind of techniques, where you have a photo. Here is also an unsplash photo that is behind, and then I just added an effect, a glass effect, which makes it a bit blurred like this. And this is also a technique that it's very used in design in 2021. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at photos. I'm looking at screens. Sometimes I'm using, no images, but like gradient colors like this. Sometimes I'm using an image like this, which is a bit more complicated. Sometimes it's dark color, simple color. Sometimes it's white. So I do not really follow a specific rule in terms of background and colors. It's just that it has to be coherent. It has to be logic with what you show. If I put here in this report, I put a black background, it's not that positive when you think about black color in the sense of COVID, because people, will think about deceased people, or it's not a positive color for a report. So I put it in blue, which is with yellow. It can be a bit positive in the sense that it's something that we will pass, and it's not. It will pass, and we have to be positive and see I put it here in terms of vaccination. People get more and more vaccinated, there will be less cases, and at the end it will be over in a positive way. Yeah.
So like you're saying, it's all about also exposing yourself to a lot of other works done by other people, so as you are inspired enough to come up with your own designs.
Yeah, I also prepared some ideas, some rules, but I know that you already know them quite well.
No, for my audience sake, you could take us through these rules.
Yeah, there are a lot of rules in terms of design, in terms of how you can show the report or create the storytelling and the UX UI. But there are some rules that are not that known, but they are very important and very logic once you hear them. And this kind of rule, just Jacob's law, I like because it's true, and because I'm trying to put it in place and it works in terms of design. And this Jacob's law says that users spend most of their times in other websites, and they are used to do things in a certain way. And this is true. And this is things that I get inspired from, because when I create a report and I have a logo and you press on the logo and go home, this is something that you are used to because when you go on websites, you'll do the same. If you're going in a menu and you open a menu and you want to close it, you click around it, and this is how you navigate. And this law, it englobes a lot of other laws in terms of how users are looking at your report. You will always start at the top on the left, and then you will go to the right, and then you go back on the lower part on the left, and then on the right side. So you will do something like this. And this is also important, because when you create your report, you need to know what you want to show, and you need to be careful where you put it, because people will not see it. If you put something very important in this part and most of the people look at here, they will not get to see this. And I have also an image that shows an example of how things can work also with pre-attentive signals. And if you look at this image, I don't know if it's too small on your screen, but I'll try to zoom in. So most of the people will look at, you will read this first, and then you will read this, and then you will look and you will read this last.
Very
And
true.
and this is things that as designers we need to be careful about, because color and pre-attentive signals and all these laws that you can read in terms of XUI, they are really there to help you communicate better the insights that you want to show. And that's why you need to be careful of this law. And there's another law that I like, this Hicks law. And this law says that the time it takes to make a decision increases with the number of and complexity of choices. This means that if you create a report and you show 100 insights in just one page, people will have a problem to understand the insights, and it will take a lot of time for them to take a decision. So when you create a report, do not show all the insights and all the information you can find from a report. Just show them the things that are useful, and they are
Useful to them.
useful for them, and they are telling a story, and this story is based on the audience, so it's based on them. So know your audience.
Wow, that's amazing. I think I would catch you on another interview where you just take us through the laws of UX, so as you go deep dive into them and help us appreciate each law and how it is utilized in storytelling.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
think it's very good we spend more time on that, so as we appreciate the principles, because laws are for your own good as a designer, or as anywhere you go. Principles and laws that govern a certain field is something that you need to learn, so as you don't break them. You break them at your own peril. It's just like going to any country and breaking their laws. You
Yeah.
break it at your own.
No, in terms of design, there are a lot of laws, but these laws are good to know. Not to You do not need to follow all these laws all the time. Yeah.
So I was saying that I would have to catch you on one interview that you just take us through the laws of UX, so that we'll be able to appreciate each law and how it applies in our report and storytelling.
Mm. There are a lot of laws. I do not know them all. I just try to read about them, and I'm trying to find a sense and to try to know how to implement. And it helped me because I know the rules, but sometimes I break the rules, because I think in design we have to take risks, but we need to be aware of them and to really have a critic on the design. And we also need to create a report, not just in one day. So what I usually do, I'm trying to put in place some work a bit, then sleep on it, look it afterwards. Take. I'm trying to stay 1 meter behind and say, okay, it looks good, it's clear, it's not clear, and at the end of the day, after some time, I know that my report is good. But I think that what is also important to say is that no report is perfect. So you do not have
Wow.
to put all your efforts to create the perfect report and the perfect design. It doesn't exist. And also, when you are working in a BI, you get to know people, and you know that the needs are changing, the story is changing. So you need to answer the needs of the people, and then be ready to evolve and to ready to create something else and adapt to what the users want.
Wow. So it's been a very insightful interview so far. You've talked about context, you talk about putting the users in perspective right from the beginning. You talk about taking time to plan your design, because if you do that iteration, it would reduce the reworks, so that you don't fall too much in love with your design that is very hard to go by. You took us through what you go through when you are designing a report in terms of choice of color. You think about your users, how emotive it will be. You taught us about Unsplash, that we can get our visuals, images from. You talked about the fact that you need to tell a good story, and a good story means that there's something you are telling and there's something that you are not. which means that it's not everything that you are telling in a story. If I'm following a story talking about a family and you meet friends, let the story end so as the users can actually follow. And you made one important point of talking about the fact that if you are telling a story to a 1-year-old, it's different from a 15-year-old and a 30-year-old, which means that our audience really shape the story we tell. And most important, you took us through some UX laws, the Jacobs laws. And one thing that is eminent is that the lesser your insight in terms of how consistent they are, the better it is for decision making. So it's not about the number of information that you put in. And this is something that I've been embarking on with a lot of people I train, that don't try as much as possible to put all information to the end user, because if that was the case, they would not have called you as an analyst to come and analyze for them. Put a story to it and let them know where you are coming from. Like yours in Lewis Hamilton's case, Lewis Hamilton was your focal point, and then you're telling a story from his perspective. So it is important that as analysts, we learn that particular thing, that we are not saying everything and nothing, but there should be a point arrow decision that you want to be made after your story is told. Perfect. These are very useful insights. And you say that you're always learning by looking at everything and nothing, going to websites. But can you tell us some of the places that you learn easily from?
So I worked in Tableau, so I usually watch also reports that are made in Tableau. I can look also in terms of images, like publicity, and after some time you can find inspiration everywhere. So you can find it when you look at the TV, or when you look it on Pinterest. Pinterest is a very good place for looking for inspiration. Then you don't have to reinvent the wheel. The creativity is a muscle. It has to be trained. Sometimes it comes, the inspiration, sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't mean that you need to create the most, the craziest, the best report all the time you create a report. Just have fun, try to create something nice, and look what others are doing as well. Because there are competitions, there are all kinds of challenges that you can have on LinkedIn or on other platforms, and people are engaging, and people are creating reports. Look at them, and do not look only on the best ones. Look also on all of them, and try to find things that you like in every report. And in some reports you like the design. In some reports you like the analyze. In other reports you like something else. And this is very important, because everyone is different, but everyone engaging with these competitions, they want to improve, they want to learn, and they spend time. And everyone is different and is expert in different fields, and you have a lot of things to learn from everyone.
Wow, that's very insightful. I like the last point. I mean, there is a possibility of always just going to learn from the best, as in the best, the winner of the of every challenge. And I think that is very true. Sometimes you may learn more from others, maybe the second or the third or the fourth runner up, who might have had a different twist to it that you could learn from. I think Miguel Myers, who I've interviewed, said the same thing, that he lost out in the competition. But however, when the jury reassessed the entire design, they rather got him a job in Microsoft. So it's not always by top-notch winner, but always learn from any situation, like you're saying. It could be not the best, it could even be the worst. It teaches you what not to do.
Yeah.
In that situation.
In some reports, I'm trying new ways because I'm trying to do something different in every report I create. And sometimes I'm going on ideas that do not give any result. You think in your mind is genius what you're gonna do, and at the end it's not good at all. And you spend a lot of time, but this is a good lesson. And every experience and every report you create, it learns you a lot of things. So do not be afraid to engage with these reports and create reports, because you are learning by doing, that's for sure.
Wow. So I think the last takeout is let's keep learning. Don't think that all your report will be fantastic. You are not building the perfect report. You are learning along the way. So thank you very much, Alex. I've learned a lot from this interview. Like I said, I'll catch you again, whereby you take us through the laws and also other things that we may not have been able to capture on this. So viewers, thank you very much for tonight. We'll catch you again. Alex has promised me he would grant another interview on this. He just came back from his leave. So we'll definitely arrange another day. And probably if you have any questions, put it in the comment box so as I'll ask him in my subsequent interviews. Thank you very much, Alex.
Thank you very much for this invitation.
Viewers. Follow Alex on Twitter and on LinkedIn as well. You'll be amazed some of the things he's doing. He's also an expert on enterprise. Do make a point to subscribe to my channel. Catch you same time next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.